Hey, family, what's up? Hey, thank y'all for joining us for season 3 of She Say, He Say. And Ash and I would like to send out a shout out to all of y'all been rolling with us for the last 2 seasons. So
Most definitely.
yeah, man, we changing things up a little bit for season 3. As you can see, we got some new people in the building. Um, yeah, man, yeah. So we're gonna allow our new team to be able to begin to kind of introduce themselves real quick, and then we'll kind of hop into the way that we're going to do season 3. So how does that sound?
Works
All
for
right.
me.
So ladies first.
Of course. So I am Brittany, also known as Dream Queen, the plus model. I am here to give my sound opinion because I am a positive voice in the room. Also, I'm from Louisiana, deep rooted, church raised. I'm very heavy on social media. Probably not so much as posting pictures, but I'm looking, I'm observing, I'm taking notes. I'm a mom. I've been married and divorced. I am now engaged to my king.
All right.
I'm excited to be a part of this podcast. I'm so excited that you guys asked me to be here, and I cannot wait to share my opinions because I am very opinionated. You guys can catch me at Dream Queen 87 on Instagram, Facebook, Renee B. Glover, and I'm excited to be here.
All right. Talk to us, man.
Hey man, it's your boy Trey B, man. Look, single, been married before, been divorced before. Very opinionated on what I think goes on in this world. You know, you can find me on Instagram at Trap Bailey. My political views, a lot of people, Democrat, Republican. Hey, I'm independent. You know,
I dig it.
You know, I do me. I go by my own views. So you know, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to
dig
get it started.
I dig it. Before I get into the introduction, just to ask you guys this real quick: do you have any kids? 2 kids.
One daughter,
One
17
daughter.
years old, be 18 this year.
All right.
I
All
have
right.
a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. My
13.
daughter's 12, my son is 13.
Okay. All right. And from the last show, if anybody knows it, Dream Queen's children live with their father.
Yes.
And Trap, your children live, or your daughter is back and forth. You co-parent with your ex-wife. Okay.
Yeah, we
So
do a great job of that.
yeah. So I think it's just kind of important to give some of that background with the subject that we're going to be dealing with.
Right.
So Ash, you go ahead. You take it away. Let's give that reintroduction.
The reintroduction.
Reintroduction. Everybody know you. Give the reintroduction.
All right.
Ash, come on, man.
All right. We'll give it to him one more time. One good time. This is your girl, Ash Nicole, plus size model of the group. I am here for body positivity and women empowerment. You can reach me on Instagram at Ash_NICOL 35. And this is my crew. We coming back and we coming strong with some strong opinions. And I hope y'all stay here for the ride.
Tell us a little bit about your personal.
Personally, I am currently taken. I'm involved. I also am independent because for the longest time, all my life, Democrat. But after realizing, there's certain things about Republican I ride with, certain things with Democrat I ride with. I find that myself in the middle of it all. So, I'm independent. But y'all know I got babies. I'm a mama of 5. And
All right. You did your thing. Hey, man, hats off to Ash Nicole. So I'm going to bring it home, man. Everybody should remember me. If you don't, for anybody that's joining us new, call me Original Knockoff, right? First name Mike. If you want to just holler at me, the name is Mike. So I am married. I am been married. Me and the wife will celebrate 11 years this year. So, yeah, man, thank you. We've been doing this thing 11 years. We have raised 6 children, 2 dogs, right? So we've been doing this thing. I'm feeling good about saying that of the 6 children, we only have 2.5 at home.
Oh, God.
Yeah, man, we only got 2.5 at home. And if anybody's wondering about the half, my sophomore or junior in college, he's kind of ending out. He lives there 2 days a week, and we gave him a water bill to pay. So I guess he counts as living there, right? So that's kind of the living situation. And then the reality of it is I'm kind of like Ash. I'm definitely independent in my viewpoint as far as politics go. And the reason why that's important, if people are wondering why we're introducing ourselves and giving that little bit of information, is just simply because this season, we're dealing with one primary topic, but it's many faceted, right? The topic that we're dealing with this whole entire season is marriage. And in the wake of everything that we saw happen last year when all of us was locked down during the pandemic, we saw, George Floyd lose his life. Everybody saw that. And then it was just, it was an outcry, social injustice, right? No justice, no peace. We hear that, we've heard that so many times. It's almost sickening to keep hearing it, you did? But it's one of those situations where we have to ask ourselves as a people, do we have any fault in the way that we're viewed in this country? Do we shoulder any of the blame? And what can we do to change the paradigm, right? So one of the things that I think we really want to dig into is we want to dig into marriage. And I think that's huge because statistically, 39% compared to our counterparts are married right now, right? So it's a huge disparity. Why is it that black men and black women aren't getting married? Because you build more wealth when you marry, right? You create more stability for our children when you marry, right?
Facts.
If we refusing to do that, one of the things that everybody always talking about is we getting the bag, right? We securing the bag, we making this money. There is literally thousands of educational courses that you can go on IG and take today and learn how to secure the bag.
YouTube University.
Exactly.
Okay.
Would everybody agree? But I think everybody that's listening would be surprised to know that you increase your asset potential by 100% if you simply get married. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into this season how to get together, how to build wealth, the reasons that we should get married, and the reasons we don't.
Right.
Because there are legitimate reasons we don't get married. Okay? So we're going to get into that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to let our girl, the beautiful Dream Queen, bring us back in. Well, Ash is going to bring us back in. The Dream Queen's going to give us the why. Okay? She's going to give us the why. And before I go, I'm going to start some stuff because I start stuff. That's what I do. That's what I do. I start stuff. I instigate. So that's what I'm gonna do. Before we go to break, let me instigate this one thing. Man, you said you are the plus size model of the group.
I heard that.
Oh wow. Things have changed.
But I understand how words can get away with you. I'm here, I got you.
See, but we're
It's
gonna
all
do it
love.
like this because Brittany and I, we support each other all day, every day. So
Since we
I'm the
first met.
original at this table, but she's
Okay.
definitely a plus size queen.
Okay. Hey, and if y'all have not seen the shoot that they did together, man, go to the Instagram pages. It's hot. It's super dope. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And we're back. So we're gonna dive right in. We are to the point where we want to know why. Why don't our black people take marriage seriously? What is the reason? Where did we go wrong or where did we go right? What is it that we are looking for if it's not marriage when it comes down to being with a partner? And I want to give it to Brittany. She had made some good points when we had sat down and had a conversation, and I want her to touch base on why she thinks that the society that we live in doesn't take it seriously.
I feel like we don't take marriage seriously because people say that we were brought, like you maybe have brought up in a home that had two parents in it. However, did somebody teach you how to be a husband or wife? Did dad sit you down and say, look, as a man, you got to do this, this, and that? Did mom sit the girls down and, as a wife, you have to keep house, you have to do this, you have to do that. All we saw was action. Like, my mom was a single parent, so I saw action from her side. I never really seen my dad. So I feel like from the beginning, like I took a poll at work. I work with a bunch of women. Nobody was taught how to be a wife, but everybody got married at an early age. And then the ones that did get married at an early age ended up later getting divorced. Of course, having kids, getting divorced. So, and one was a successful woman, and she went through a horrible divorce, and she was like, I'm never getting married. And she's older, in her early 60s. She's never getting married, but she wants to find someone who's okay with that.
Right.
I feel like people, it's okay to raise your kids and, for them to see love, see, thriving relationships, have those conversations, those serious conversations, because obviously we're not having them. Too many men want to be single out here having multiple women. They feel like it's a thing. I feel like it's a thing when you get with someone, you guys make this union, you make this pact, and maybe you add to it. That becomes a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's an even bigger thing, because when you think about it, you add 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 is always better than 1, right?
1. Exactly.
Okay, and you keep adding to that. You never know. Y'all may have a whole empire, build y'all a school somewhere. That's my dream.
Amen.
In case y'all want to know.
I dig.
Have a farm
Exactly.
ran by children.
And the thing is, it's very important to understand that aspect of it all, because at the end of the day, if you build, then you're not only building a foundation for what you have, together, your union, but you're building for those children.
Right.
And you're building for the future beyond us, the generations above us. You know what I mean? We, as a dynamic, can change where we're going, the direction in life that us as a culture is going down.
Most
So
definitely.
I get it, and you had touched on the basis that you were raised by your mom, a single mom. I was not even raised by my mom or my dad. I was raised by my grandmother. You know what I mean? So and she was single, so a single woman. I mean, I don't know, you gentlemen, were you raised by both parents?
I would definitely say that I was raised by both parents. However, I did reside with a single mom, right? My father was definitely very active, and thankfully, thankfully, matter of fact, I talked to him the other day. I was like, hey, man, everything that I've accomplished, I have accomplished because of you. Even though you weren't in the house much, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but because I was able to see you beast the way that you beast, I was able to do the exact same thing, right? So, I was raised by both my mother and father, but I resided in a home with only my mother up until my freshman year in high school. And I went to go live with my dad. And I think real quick though, the important piece of that is I went to go live with my dad and his wife. So I was able to see
That
marriage,
dynamic,
right? I was able to appreciate marriage and actually watch that dynamic. So
That's important.
yeah.
Right. It's very important.
Definitely.
You, Travis?
I'm the complete opposite of Mike. I was raised in a single parent household. I never seen marriage unless it came to my uncles. I've never seen marriage, so I think when we ask why don't people take marriage seriously, I can speak on the point of view was I grew up not knowing how important marriage was. I grew up not seeing marriage in my household, and that's not to put blame on anything.
No.
That's just how
You didn't
life
see
was.
it, right.
I didn't see it. And then some of the examples that I do have is I know friends and I know other people that their parents were married, but it was so violent, it was so disgruntled. A lot of it ended in divorce. A lot of it ended with this person moving or something. So I think a lot of people look back on how they was raised in their childhood and what they seen, and as they get older, I don't think they take it serious because when they was younger, it wasn't taken serious.
Right.
That's true.
And that's kind of what Brittany was, coming back to, is that, a lot of people, and as you can see it, most of us have been raised in, a single parent home. We haven't been taught. We haven't been shown we haven't had that. And I mean, and Mike, he has a very successful marriage. You know what I mean? Because he was able to eventually see two people work through or work it out. But we haven't seen that. We weren't taught. We weren't taken and sat down and cultured on how it is, what you're supposed to do, what you should look for, what you should understand, how to lean on it, how to, you know what I mean? We've been all independent. Stand on your own 2 feet. Make sure you do this. Make sure you have this. And so when you're taught to just be independent, you start to have an independent thought process, and then you start to feel like, well, it's all about me. I need to know how to satisfy me, how to please me, how to do me. And you don't relinquish that when you do get with a partner, and that makes it a problem, because if they're not doing you the way you want to be done, then you don't have that.
Peace, deuces.
Yeah, that's your first instinct. That's your first instinct is to run.
Exactly. But how do we get there though? See, one of the things y'all gotta understand about me through this whole season, y'all understand that I'm a big picture person. I can really care less about the individual, right? I see things in a bigger scope, and when I think about me as being a father to my children, I think about my people, right? I think about the way that I raise my son. Is he a good representative of my people, not just my household, right? My son walks down the street. If you ever see him with his pants sagging down and you see his underwear, whoop his ass, because he know better.
Right.
He know better because he's prepared to take over. He's prepared to run an empire. That's not the way I was taught that the head of a Fortune 500 company wears his pants.
Right.
So my son shall not wear his pants that way. You dig? And I said all of that just simply to say I see the bigger picture. I deal with the bigger picture in everything that I do. So just real quick, do you guys understand what we just came out of? This teacher mic, put teacher mic out. Do y'all understand what we just came out of? The reason why we saw such dissension between mothers and fathers and men and women when we were growing up. Just to keep it as brief as I can, you have to realize what we were coming out of. And in my particular age group, what we were literally going through. I'm a little bit older than you guys, right? So what we were going through, I was a child in the 80s. So what we were literally going through war, a real war. And there was a war on our community. The president at that time, Ronald Reagan, right, I said it, right, was pumping drugs in the community, okay? And through this, we were losing black men at an alarming rate. They were either dying or they were going to jail, right? So this left a lot of fatherless households, right? And here's another thing that people have to realize. By our very nature, we're human beings. We have the ability to rationalize, but at our very core, we're animals.
Right.
And here's what people don't understand by when I say that we're animals. Understand this. If you're in an environment, as a male, we're powered by testosterone, right? If you're in an environment where there's a lot of women, where there's a lot of feminine energy, right, that's unattached, it doesn't have a man, right? There's a lot of feminine energy in one community, very little masculine energy, right? As a man, we're going to be hypersexualized. It's just our very nature. We're going to be hypersexualized. So in that sense, what you get is you get a lot of men who have a lot of opportunity at a bunch of single and lonely women. So what happens is we just start planting our seed wherever we can plant our seed. You dig? And if we keep it at 100, the women who are lonely
Right.
know he got a woman, but she shouldn't have all the fun. Come on over here. So I mean, we being honest. We being honest. I venture to say that most times when a man cheats, he doesn't cheat by himself, right? Number one. Better chances out of 10, I'm going to say 60 to 70% of that time, the woman know that he may have somebody, right? The writing was on the wall.
Right.
That he had somebody.
That's that loneliness.
Exactly. So understand, we were at war. Men were being taken out of our community, and then there were a bunch of men who were able to plant flags, have a bunch of babies, right? By a bunch of different women, and did not have to be responsible, unfortunately. And on top of that, you had a bunch of single moms who had to work all the time. Daughters and sons left unattended. And these babies, these girls, 13, 14, 15 years old, are having babies, right? So there was a tremendous amount of dysfunction coming out of the 80s into the 90s, okay? So these are the things that we were dealing with as a people. So that's my teacher hat. I put the teacher hat on for those who don't see the big picture. So now y'all understand why we seen so many men running in and out the door. Right. So many men not taking responsibility. So many mamas on the phone with their girlfriend saying, girl, he ain't shit. You did? That's why. We were literally at war and we don't even realize what was done to us. Okay? So now I'm feeling like statistically it's showing that black people are getting together. It's showing that we're teaming up, we're coupling up again. Right, whether we're married or not, we're two parents living in a household. Hell, we're going to even get to the rest of this later in the season. Sometimes three parents living in a household, taking care of children, and making this thing work. Right. So, just to give a little background and a little history, that's why I think a lot of people feel like, why get married? I mean, it's a bunch of BS, man. You know, nobody's faithful. You know. Men, they cheat, they do this, they do that, right? So understand the psychology behind what we're coming out of, right? So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with segment 2. All right, y'all. Segment 3, rather. Brittany brought it in.
Segment 3.
All right, so actually, there's a couple things in segment 2 we can.
So you guys, we're coming back and we're going to touch base a little bit on what Mike was saying, you know, with seeing the way that we ended up coming from not having the men in the house, you know, these single moms, you know, having these babies and then babies having babies. It became dysfunctional. We went down the path of, well, I have to raise this baby because by myself, and that's your first instinct. You don't think to go find, you know, a partner or a mate because at the time you're either trying to make it work with the person you were laying with, or you're taught your mom. If anybody's like my mom or my grandmother, they taught you to be independent. Get your thing, do what you got to do. But within the dysfunction of it all, we've lost our way. We did not decide to, you know, commingle with, you know, finding the next male to, you know, lay down with, or to make sure that we had a proper father figure in the household to show our family, you know, this is how this works. This is what this is. And a lot of the time what ends up happening is like we get to a point where we're so independent as women that we don't know how to lean on a man. We don't know how to say I need that help, or even allow a man to come in. And especially when you lay down with one man and you birth this child, and then another man tries to come in and try to tell you like how you're supposed to raise your kid and what you're supposed to do, and then we're bashing them, we're beating them down, we're telling them no, I don't want you in my child's life. Like, you know, we put them at bay. You know what I mean? And it becomes a situation where that's why, you know, a lot of them women didn't go forward and get married because they didn't know how to communicate. They didn't know how to let that person in. They didn't know how to love or be loved the proper way because they had so much dysfunction coming into what it was that they had. So, you know, unfortunately, those women are parents now. My mom never got married. I mean, well, she eventually got married, but it was for a whole different reasons. I don't even talk about it. But that's another show. But she eventually got married for a whole different reason. But that was after she had three kids. You know what I mean? We were all raised by then. So we all didn't see that. We all weren't taught that. We didn't know it. And she actually had babies at a young age. I was born, she was 18 when she had me. So she didn't know how to love, didn't know how to get that, and then her mom and her didn't have a good relationship, so she really didn't know how to love.
Cycle.
That's part of the one of the poverty, what's it called, a poverty formula. Right. There was a poverty formula that came out that basically said that if you had a child before you were married, if you have a child before the age of 20, then better chances out of 10, you're going to be impoverished
Right.
for the rest of your life.
Right.
Statistically,
Statistically.
77% of the people who make those mistakes in the beginning remain poor the rest of their life. Period. So there is a formula for poverty if anybody wanted to know.
Repetition, no change.
There you go.
No growth.
Yeah.
And then we stay
Don't
systematically
deal with
placed
your,
Yeah.
with your shit.
where we at.
Stuff.
Yeah. No, that's facts though. So because I got a question for you, and this is huge. What she said was, one of the things she said was a woman allowing a man to come in and help parent her children. Right? As men, that's one of the toughest things we deal with, bro. Right? When trying to come in, because she's set in her way. She raised her children a specific way, right? And as a man, sometimes we come in, we see things just a little bit different, especially with our young boys, our young men. We see things totally different. Speak on that a little bit for me, man.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in. A woman raising her kids for so long by herself, she's already instilled the rules, the values, the things she feels are important for her child.
Right.
So when you coming into that situation, you meeting this lady, and it's your responsibility now to help her with raising her child. You can't just come in right off the bat trying to discipline a child, tell a child what to do. They're used to doing that already. Their mother is allowing whatever she's allowing to happen. So when she sees you trying to come in and automatically jump in as if you really daddy, she's going, hold on now, you know, this is how we do it over here. I feel what you first have to do is make that woman fall in love with you. Make her understand. Once she feels you the alpha male, and she can trust you, she can trust her life in your hands, then she can allow you to, okay, this man right here, he's all right. I can trust him not only with myself, but I can trust him with my children.
Right.
So, you know, you got to come in and make that woman feel like she's it,
Yeah.
the shit. You know, make her have that trust in you.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll trickle down.
That's
Man,
me.
and the sad part is that so many of those women don't give that man. Well, the sad part is some of those men don't understand that part. Their first instinct is they see something wrong, they want to fix it. Most men are fixers; they just want to fix it right away. They don't realize, you know, the psychology behind it all is that you got to get her comfortable with you coming in and kind of dictating. And at the end of the day, for real, before you even get to the point where you done met the kid to even be able to dictate, she should be in that space of comfortability.
Right.
So, you know, it's a big thing.
If she's dating, she should be in that space.
Right.
If you're dating someone, you should have been made up in your mind like, okay, girl, he finna come in here, he gonna have to meet these kids.
Is that the way y'all do
Right,
it?
you
Y'all have to have a meeting with
gotta.
yourself.
Yeah,
He's gotta
you
be
can't just
taking
bring
point. They gotta
everybody
do
around
it.
your kids. And if you get to that space where you're like, okay, look, I'm finna bring him in here.
Right.
Please don't let them run him off.
Women know how their kids are. You know, let's not get it twisted. What they do in their household is what they do.
Right.
They allow what they allow. We don't know what they allow.
Right.
So now they know, ooh, I shouldn't have allowed that. This man finna come in here.
And if you've been single for so long,
Right.
you'll see for yourself that your child he'll respond different, or he or she respond different when they see that. Man, you be like,
Yeah. Yeah. Who you
Right.
think you are? Yeah.
Right.
you just go with him when you leave. Like when you open that space up, they respond. If it's a dominant male,
Right.
and he respond, and the child responds to that, then that's like an open door. So it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go to the store.
Yeah.
I'll be back. You know,
That's
one of
facts.
those type of moments.
That's facts. I mean, I've actually recently seen that happen. What you're saying is facts. Children respond differently to that masculine energy in the household. Mama can tell me 3,000 or 4,000 times not to do it, but when he say it, it's just a little. It's just a little
You be
different.
like, what the?
And don't mistake. Children see how you handle their mother.
Yes.
They see how you take care of them and how you talk to them.
Right.
They always watch.
Definitely.
So you know,
That's true.
it always starts with that.
Definitely. I can dig it. All right. So, question. So, we spoke a little bit about the dysfunction that some of us saw, right? Me, like I said, I'm single mom. I did see some things with my mom and dad. It was kind of a physical relationship. You know, Pops he could get a little physical at times, right? Just because, you know, of his upbringing, some of the things that he saw, he got a little bit physical. So those were some of the things that I saw. I saw things where, you know, police came to my house a few times as a little kid. You know what I'm saying? I remember those things, right? So, I mean, to a kid that's 3 and 4 years old, 5 years old, seeing a little bit of this, I mean, marriage would immediately seem to be a turn on.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, why is
This
it?
seems stressful.
I ain't gonna go through that.
Right,
Right.
right. So, you know,
Automatically switches something off in their brain that says, nah, this ain't good. You know what I mean? I don't, mentally, it will mess with your child's psyche.
Exactly. But I will say this, though. I will say that the fact that this guy was brave enough to marry twice, right? Must be something to it. Once again, at the end of the day, I look up to this guy. Y'all hear me quote this guy a lot on the show, right? So he did it twice. And then as I watched his second marriage when I was a little bit older, and I was at the age, you know, I was at that age where we sit and we pass judgment on our parents. I was at that age, right? So I was able to see a little bit more the way he handled her, the way that he handled things in his house, the way that he handled dissension, you know, how he had changed a little bit in the way that, you know, the husband and what the husbandly experience was. And then when I was able to see that, I was able to say, well, okay, you know, maybe it's something to this. Maybe this is for me. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say seeing it, having the opportunity to see it, may be the reason why I hold on so much to marriage, right? And it may be the reason why you guys have said some of the things that you said about marriage. But Brittany, you said that you saw a lot of dysfunction. Why you doing it twice?
Well, first, when I got married the first time, I felt like I was young. I wasn't old enough. I hadn't experienced enough to know. You know, being raised up in church, you feel like that's the thing. That's what you do. You know, you meet somebody, you get married, y'all start having babies. He takes care of you. You know, that was my thought process. And I'm from a small town, so that was my thought process. And I felt like I was just too young. I didn't know enough about, you know, catering to a man and making sure he had this, and that. And, you know, and also him not knowing to make sure that I had this, and that. And catering to me, you know, even if I am at home every day, I still need something. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this time around, and I had kids, and that was amazing. I feel like this time around, I was able to meet somebody who was for me. Like, I met, you know, my last husband at church. We were raised up together. He was always there, you know, at church. I felt like this just happened. Like, we met on POF. Like, we met on POF. We had plenty of fish. Right.
On the internet.
Right.
Ain't that though the jump off spot though?
I don't feel like it is.
That ain't
I
Trey.
was new to Atlanta at the time, so I feel like
Trey.
I had no friends.
Hold
I
on.
was new to Atlanta at the time. I had no friends, so I feel like
Trey.
it was.
Situation.
Poor thing, she didn't know.
I
Now
didn't
she
know.
one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
She went
Definitely one of the lucky
now. Don't get it twisted. I'm not knocking the fact that you found your husband online. I met my wife on Black People Meet, but
There you go.
but POF is kind of known as the
I mean, the name
This
says
was
it all.
6 years ago.
plenty of fish.
This was 6 years ago. Like 6 years ago.
The name says it all.
So I can dig it. I'm not hating on that.
But if
But
you
the
follow
blessing
them
came
on
out of
social
it.
media now, they're kind of more legit. Like, they have a social media, like, people matching up successful marriages. You know, like, so they asked me for my story, and I submitted my story, and they posted on their social media. Like,
Okay.
it's, you know, it's a thing. Like,
Okay.
I went there for the right reasons. I feel
Right,
like, and I feel
right.
like I met the right person. You know, for me, like. He allows me to have my own space because I need that. I'm a Libra. I'm all over the
Yes,
place.
ma'am.
Yeah, I'm balanced, but I'm all over the place.
Girl.
You know, I be want to do this, and this, and this.
Us
And
Libras.
he's cool. He's like, go do whatever you need to do to. I'm gonna be right here. I'd be like, okay.
All right.
So I feel like marriage is successful. It can be successful with the right person. It's just you need to go into it with just like you approach anything, research.
Right.
I need knowledge. I need to get some books.
Open
I need to
mind.
educate myself, open mind. You know, you're with another person.
Right.
So, you know, that person has to have their own stuff. They can't
Right.
just be all about you, which is wonderful. You know, y'all have your all about us moment. But if they don't have something for themselves or in themselves, then it's not going to work when you guys come together. It's
Right.
not going to mesh well because somebody's going to be unhappy.
Right.
Because they don't have nothing. While
Yeah.
you going doing what you doing, they over there like,
Right. Yeah. They're gonna
Yeah.
feel some animosity. Right.
Yeah, that's that 20-year-old love, though. That love where, oh, I just can't get enough of you, and I don't have any other life other than
yeah,
you.
that's what I
Right.
was. That's what I was when I got married.
Yeah, that's 20-year-old love.
Wait, long
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
We gonna count this.
We're definitely talking about. Yeah, long.
Yeah.
I'm a grown woman.
Amen.
Yeah, she looked like she 25.
But I'm
That's that good black don't cry.
You know it.
That is.
You know it. I get carded everywhere, girl. I be laughing when I pull it. I'm like,
There you go.
there you go. Check
Hey,
that out.
hey, y'all, this has been a dope first piece
Yeah.
of the quest for marriage. And I think one of the things we'll try to do is just try to make sure that we're giving as much information with these next shows. So y'all come back, make sure that y'all subscribing if y'all checking us out on YouTube. If you listening to the audio version of this, Brittany did a fantastic interview this week with the woman in regard to marriage. So I'm going to say anybody who checks us out on YouTube, you definitely want to go to Spotify and check out the audio version because on Anchor, because we're definitely going to put that interview on there and attach it, and just to be able to get that point of view from somebody who's been through marriage and her idea and her ideology on marriage now is going to be very important. So we're going to make sure that we get that out for you guys on the audio version of the podcast, right? So, hey, we thank y'all for coming back out. Thank y'all for coming to sit for season 3. And we about to come back with another show. Stay tuned. It's going to be the same heat, all about marriage. The next show we're going to talk about is what are the disadvantages of getting married, right?
There's some of them out there.
What are the
If
disadvantages?
they're ending, there has to be some disadvantages.
Yeah, what are the disadvantages? So, yeah, y'all stay tuned. Come back for show number 2. Good night.